Tigers at the Combine. What's going on, people? Welcome back to the Reefer Jack the Reefer. I got another banger video for you guys today. Let's be special, baby. Let's be special. First off, before we get going, I gotta give a shout out to my guy, James Conner, JC, baby. You see him in the studio right behind me in the frame jersey. Signed a new 3-year deal with the Cardinals, $21 million over 3 years, 13.5 guaranteed. Conner strong, baby. Fear is a choice. Let's go. So Clemson had 4 players invited to the Combine: Justyn Ross, Baylen Specter, Mario Goodrich, and Andrew Booth Jr. Now, surprisingly, James Skalski wasn't invited, Nolan Turner wasn't invited. A little surprising that they weren't, but... So, Justyn Ross opted to not participate in most of the Combine events except the bench press event, when he's recovering from foot surgery from the season. So, he'll be participating fully, though, in the Tigers Pro Day, hopefully, which I hope he does, because I kind of think he needs to put up a big Pro Day to kind of solidify himself into that second round, fringe first round conversation, maybe. So if you look at his first 2 years of production, his first 2 years at Clemson, 1,865 yards, 17 touchdowns. Absolutely electric. And then he kind of had a lackluster year a little bit this past year. Now, overall, the passing game was a little bit down, so I don't know how much is to blame on him versus the schemes versus everything that was going on. I'm not quite sure who to blame, but it wasn't quite the year that he was expecting. But at the Combine, though, he put up 25 reps of the bench press, which bench press is 225 pounds, which is really impressive for a receiver. Ended up being third, though. First place guy, though, was Isaiah Weston, an absolute Combine warrior this year. This guy was an absolute stud in every Combine event he participated in. But I expect Ross to kind of bounce back from everything, have a great pro day at Clemson, solidify himself into that second round. Maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars kind of sneak in there and tee law. It's like, hey, we need Justyn Ross. He's a playmaker on the boundary, baby. Then Andrew Booth Jr. unfortunately didn't participate in the Combine either, because he actually injured a quad muscle while training for the Combine and just wasn't a good fit. Andrew is a very, as you know, a very fast, high twitch athlete. And if his quad's not right, if one of his legs isn't right, he shouldn't participate. He shouldn't damage his draft stocks. He could be a first round draft pick. He could be kind of an AJ Terrell type, maybe not front half of the NFL draft, but in the middle, the back half of that first round, he could get in there. I really think he could. I would take him in the first round. It's unfortunate to see him, though, too, because I think he would have tested very well. But hopefully he'll recover and be full go for Clemson Pro Day. And then also Mario Goodrich, another cornerback, was there. He ran the 40-yard dash in 4.52 seconds. Absolutely electric. Stupid fast. I cannot run a 40-yard dash that fast. I wish I could, though. But he ranked 23rd overall in terms of cornerbacks, which is pretty good for considering how many cornerbacks were there. But overall, I thought he had a kind of a good day. It was an impressive number for him to put up there that show that he can stay with those receivers, because the receivers of the Combine were putting up some crazy numbers this year. I mean, those Ohio State guys can fly. But I think he can use the Clemson Pro Day as well to kind of help him climb. I think he's a bit of a late climber towards the end of the season. People started to realize how productive he is as a cornerback. I think he'll start climbing into the round 3, maybe round 2 conversation, but it all kind of depends on the Clemson Pro Day, how he does. I think he's going to do good there, though. And then finally, we got Baylen Specter. He participated in quite a few Combine events. So on the 40-yard dash, he ran it in 4.6 seconds, which for his size, quite impressive. Ranks 12th in linebackers, which also, again, impressive. 36-inch vertical jump, ranks 13th in linebackers. And 122-inch broad jump, which ranks 16th in linebackers. Overall, a solid Combine for him. And I'm not trying to be a hater here, but honestly, he did better than I thought he would do. I thought he'd be a little bit lower. I thought in terms of rankings for, overall, he was kind of, that 12th, 13th position athletically for all the tests he did. I was expecting him to be more towards, the 20th, 22nd place in terms of the rankings. But he absolutely exceeded what I thought he was capable of, so I will give him props for that. I am happy for him. He had a great day. And once again, he'll be able to build on that at Clemson Pro Day. But I mean, he showed that he has the athleticism to be in the NFL, stay in the league too. He can catch on. Maybe he won't be, a day one starter, but I think he definitely catch on with the right team as a special team guy. Kind of get in the mix if they need a switch it up at linebacker. If somebody gets injured, unfortunately, or they may need a third down backer. I think he could definitely kind of catch in with a little niche somewhere, but I think he's capable to catch on with just about anybody's special teams unit, to be quite honest with you. So I'm happy for Baylen. But speaking of linebackers, one linebacker I was kind of surprised by to see his numbers was Mike Rose from Iowa State. Because the numbers he put up at the combine just didn't quite match how productive he was at Iowa State. He was crazy productive at Iowa State. Absolute tackling machine, Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Great linebacker. I was just kind of surprised by that. The combine numbers didn't quite match up. But overall, some of the top prospects decided not to participate in the combine, as well as some of the other prospects kind of picked and choose what event they were going to do. You know, some didn't do the 40-yard dash, and some were going to do the 20-yard shuffle, and so on, 3-cone drill. So a lot of prospects kind of picked and choose what they were going to do. And you know, some of the top ones, like Evan Neal from Alabama, was like, nah, I'm not going to participate at all. Which, the past 2 years with the NFL Combine being canceled has kind of shown these prospects and everybody else that, hey, you know, the Combine isn't the end-all be-all. You know, they can choose to not participate in it, which the NFLPA has been huge at trying to push prospects to not do it. But it's just kind of scary for the prospects now, too, because there's a lot of, you know, what ifs. What if somebody else performs great and takes my spot in that draft? You know, they get drafted higher than I do, and there's a lot of money on the line in the NFL draft, especially in the first round. There's, you know, going 4th and going 12th, there is a huge difference in that first contract. But also on the flip side of that, though, the combine benefits a lot of prospects as well. I mean, look no further than Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons absolutely blew up the combine when he was there, and I think he shot up a lot of people's draft boards and solidified himself for a high first-round draft spot, which obviously the Arizona Cardinals took him. So that's just an example of a guy that used the combine, capitalized on it, and absolutely excelled. So the combine, you know, it's a risk-reward type event, you know. You can do great, boost your draft stock, send it through the roof. You could show up, not do as well as expected, you know, draft stock could fall a little bit. Or, you know, you could not participate in it. We kind of wait for your pro day where you feel comfortable, you know the field, you know the people throwing you the ball. But also run the risk of some teams being like, hey, we're comparing you versus somebody else, and this somebody else chose to be a competitor and showed up at the combine and was ready to run all the events and do all the events, and hey, I want a competitor on my football team. So that it's kind of a risk-reward situation that a lot of players and agents are working through. But you know, overall, you know, I think the Clemson Tigers did quite well at the combine. I'm excited to see what pro day does for them too. I'm also excited to see what spring practice looks like this week for the Tigers. But that's all I got for today, guys. As always, have a great day. Tell somebody you love them. Deuces.